With dodging and burning, I have my actions already set. I'll later dedicate another video to go over how this was set up and explain to you everything that we have in here. But for now, there are three groups, one for local dodging and burning, the global, and then here. When we go inside the the local dodging and burning called the fixer, this is where we're going to go into minute areas and just try to blend them a lot more in, right? In here, I have my dodge layer, and clip to that, I have a hue and saturation layer. I'll explain that later. And this is my burn layer. Also clip to that, I have the hue and saturation layer. So what I'm going to do here, just go to curves, the curve that is attached to it, because this was made with the curves. All I'm going to do is just increase it a little bit more. Go here, bring it down. And by doing so, we are creating darker tones, and with the dodge, we are creating lighter tones. We are not seeing any changes happen because of the max that are attached to them, okay? And why we have the saturation and hue adjustment layers here is because whenever we add white to any tone, what we are doing is we are tinting the colors up so it becomes desaturated. And whenever we add any sort of black color to any of these tones here, we are also shading them so they become more saturated and strong or intense. Okay, so what we like to do is to just add a little bit of saturation after our local dodging and burning, and desaturate a little bit after doing the same for the burn layer. Okay, that is why we have the hue and saturation layers attached to them. When I go to my contour, that'll be done globally. I'll also do the same, raise the midtones up a little bit, and then bring the midtones down a little bit for the burn layer. Here, I don't think there's anything extreme happening with the hair, because usually you'd have some shots where the hairs are catching a lot more highlights and shadows, so you'd have to let's say accentuate those using this layer or this group. I'm not going to touch these because the hair is okay here, so I'm not really going to add anything more to it. Everything I'm going to do is going to happen within the fixer node and the fixer group and the contour group. Now we also need one more thing called a visual aid. And everything that is happening here are all extensions that are already installed. So later on, I'll just do a deep dive into them and possibly go through some of my favorites here and how I use them and all. But in this one, I only have visual aid going on. So I choose that. And what it does is sets up a black and white layer for me to be able to see the actual problems we'll be fixing. And it's easy to also identify the areas where you have to work on. So in here, I'm just going to go inside my fixer layer, right? And choose the brush with the same settings. I'm just going to zoom in and out to fix and then check to see if it works out. So I still go with the same flow, start from the top and go below, and I'll start with my burn layer. It's not in any particular order. I'm just going to go in there and just start blending all of these areas in a lot more. Okay, let me check my brush to see if it's soft, way too hard. All right, you have to have a soft one brush. I'm just going to go in there and start blending these guys in a lot more. What I'm doing here, it's just blending. I'm a fan of just blending the shadows and the highlights a lot more. These junctions that I meet, want to blend them in a lot more so that they flow better. In that way, you can see that the shot is smooth. Okay, so what I'm doing is just zooming in and out to see where the problem areas are. And I'm just taking my time with it because these can get out of hand, okay? You have to be very careful to not overdo it. You know, if you're editing a beauty shot, then you can just go ham with it. But in this case, I'm just taking my time to do only what is necessary. Everything else will add to the photo. Okay, so the forehead is almost done. I'll just continue to blend these guys in a little bit, back up and see what I'm getting. And also bear in mind, you're not taking all of these shadows and highlights off. For instance, like this side right here, right? You can see that leaning into this is more highlighted than this part. You wouldn't want to take all of these guys out because that is the structure of the face. Okay, it adds to the photo. You're not taking these ones out, else you're going to make the photo a lot more flatter, or perhaps even make the face or the forehead bigger. And that is not what you're getting over here. So if it is already there and capturing light, try to maintain it, but only blend or fix those patches that needs to be fixed. And that way your photos look more natural and not overdone. As a photographer, that is what you have to be striving for people to see your photos well retouched, but not looking unrealistic. Good. So I'm just going to go in there and just start blending these guys in a lot more. as I'm doing it, I'm paying attention to how the light will greatly affect it, because I know by looking at this one, this side of the face is not going to be as highlighted as the forehead. So I'll just try to maintain how dull that part is and not overdo it. Okay, the only thing I can do is just blend it inside a little bit better. Okay, I'm just going to go to these sides. And when we get to the global contouring or global dodge and blend, this is where I can add to it. But for now, I'm just only blending. I really don't like to overdo my dodging and burning at all. I always want to maintain how natural and realistic the shot looks. So when I do, I just want to back up and see if it works. If not, I'll just go in and redo using the other layer. Great. Let me blend these guys in a little bit. When you zoom in this way, you get to work on little spots, but zooming out, at least you're able to see the entire photo and you're able to blend bigger areas together than rather zooming in a lot more. So working on the nose, this is what we have. Good. Now let me move on to this side and start taking some of these dark areas down. I mean, you can do some of the job in frequency separation and get it closer to the finished point, but dodging and burning, what it does is just add to it and just, you know, make the overall process blend a lot more. They work hand in hand. Some people prefer to just use dodging and burning instead of frequency separation. That also works, but what I think is sometimes tones and because of the environment you're shooting in can affect the hues of the skin tone. And if you're only going to be using dodging and burning, that means you're only using the color that you already have in the shot and you're not fixing anything, right? So with frequency separation, you're able to just adjust those colors that need to change or the hues that need to change. And then with dodging and burning, you just make sure they work all together or they blend well. So I'm just going to go to this part. Remember, I wanted to leave it earlier, but with dodging and burning, I can just limit the level of it and just sink them inside a little bit more so that it's not protruding that much. I like to maintain some of these ones in. Now in our polish stage, I'm going to show you how you can further enhance this too and blend them even further. So it's okay not to overdo it in this stage. Just maintain how natural it already looks. And now we'll add a lot more to the photo. Also saves time. Earlier when starting out, I would edit a photo for like hours, but now I just want to maintain a level of speed. That is why I've cut down the number of minutes doing extra to just add to the time. Okay, so this side is almost done. Great. Let me back it up. I think the forehead might need a little bit of polishing here. Let me just smoothen this side a little bit more. Bring this side down. Let's back up a little bit more. I think the side here. Now remember, I'm following the shape of the face, okay? I'm following to make sure all of these are flowing better, that's all. I'm not really changing the shape of it. When you zoom out, you can see that there's a spot here that can be blended well in. So it's good to actually blend or zoom out, sorry, and then see the overall photo. I think the chin here can also get some work. When you back out, you're able to see how well the blending is going. Then I can go in here like this and just add some more to it. Great. I think we want something here. Let me go in here a little bit. This is awesome, man. Let's see. And it works. Great. Now I can go to the lips and further blend them in. I want these guys to go down a little bit. All right, now back it up and see what I'm getting. Now what can happen is, if you don't take your time in adding more highlight to this side, it might look as if she's been punched. All right, so I'm taking my time with the amount of highlights I'm adding to it. I'll go to my brown layer and bring that down a little bit. Okay, working. I'll do the same for this other side. Okay, I'm following the pattern of the lips and making sure to just make how the lips are catching these highlights go through across board, how it will happen in real life. Okay, I think she already has some sort of like problem with her lips already, so that is why we had those tones earlier, but now I think they're all beginning to balance in. Now let's see, I think it's coming out fine. I'll have to bring it down a little and bring these guys down here a little. Awesome. Let's bring these guys down a little bit. Great. Yep. Just a sec. Then we can move on to global origin and branding. Oh man, this is working out just fine. Let's not take more out, just bring it back. And let's bring this down a little bit. Follow the same pattern. Awesome, man. Let's bring this one down. All right. Let's see. Let's take it down a little. Awesome. Great. For the eyes, I think the only thing I'm going to do is just right underneath the lashes. Just going to go over it and add a little bit more mascara or something. Yeah, I'll just darken it a little bit more. When we go to dodging and burning, I'll just, the global contouring, I'll be able to like highlight it a lot more. But for now, let's just bring out the details in the eyes a little bit, not too much. Okay, I don't want the eyes standing out extremely intensive. Okay, I just want to maintain it like this, something more realistic in the same environment and not overdo it. Good. I think this is fine. Now I can move on to the contour. Now with the contour, you're not adding to anything that is not there. Okay, if we have our highlights here, when we're contouring, we just want to accentuate it. That's all. Okay, I'll go through it with my dodge layer and just accentuate all my highlighted areas a little bit more. You have to think about how you want your overall final photo to look like when you're going through this part too as well, because you can also overdo this part and have something completely different. If you're going for a high key kind of shot, then you can overdo it and have it go in for the beauty shot area. But since you're going for something a little bit more natural and creative, I think I'll limit or minimize the amount of contouring I'm going to do here. With my burn layer, I'm just going over all the shadowy areas, okay? And just increasing the contrast between them, that's all. Okay, so if it has a shade of what? Black, then I'm just gonna go and then add some blacks to it, like the eyebrow here. Okay, and the bridge right here. Anything that is dark is gonna get some love. Or anything that is catching shadow in this case is gonna get some love. We want to be able to back up and see what you're doing and do it accordingly. Okay, something like this is great. Not too much. You're still hoping you do a lot of blend with it. I'm just going in. Everything that looks dark is going to get some love, right? The hair's already done, so I'm not going to touch them. Go back to my highlights and just polish that part in. So I think, I'm done. Not too much, okay? Anything that is catching some highlights is going to get some love too. Okay, we can go to our eyes, then just accentuate these guys a little bit, not too much. Anything that is catching highlight can get some love, so we can back it up, check what we're getting from the nose, and increase it a little bit. Great. And I'm not gonna waste much time here. Okay. At the end, this is what we have. Okay. Cool. So this is, let's look up before and after. I'm gonna delete the visual aid. So this is what we had before and after, before and after, especially the lips, right? You can see how much dodging and burning can add to the photo. This is before, after, before, and after, right? We blended them in a lot more for them to stand out. All right, so we'll stop the video here. In our next video, we're gonna go into polishing and setting up our pre-grade. See you in the next one.